What if I told you, you don't actually struggle to make friends? You struggle to let people see you. Not the polished version, not the strong version, not the I'm fine version. The real you, because making friends is easy. But being known, that's terrifying. And if you've been telling yourself, I'm just bad at friendships, you might be protecting something much deeper. Let's talk about that. Maybe you've been telling yourself the wrong story. Maybe you've been saying, I'm just awkward. I don't know how to socialize. I'm not good with people. But what if that's not the real problem? What if you don't struggle to make friends? You struggle to let people in? There's a difference, a big one, because making friends is a skill. But letting people in? That's vulnerability. And vulnerability isn't about social ability. It's about emotional safety. A lot of people who think they're bad at friendships are actually very capable socially. They can hold conversations. They can laugh at the right moments. They can be charming, intelligent, even warm. But when things start getting real, when someone tries to know them beyond the surface, something shifts. They pull back, not dramatically, not obviously, just subtly. They share less. They deflect deeper questions. They turn emotional moments into jokes. They suddenly become busy. And slowly, connections fade, not because they couldn't form them, but because closeness feels dangerous. Here's the uncomfortable truth. For many people, distance feels safer than intimacy. If you grew up in an environment where your emotions were dismissed, you were told you were too sensitive, you had to become independent too early, or you learned that people leave, your brain adapted. It learned, don't depend too much, don't show too much, don't eat too much. And that adaptation probably helped you survive. But now, as an adult, it may be the reason you feel disconnected. When someone tries to get close to you, your nervous system doesn't interpret as opportunity. It interprets it as risk, because closeness means they can see your flaws, they can disappoint you, they can reject you, they can leave. So instead of saying, I'm scared, you say, I just don't click with people. It feels logical. But deep down, it's protective. There's something else that happens. Some people become hyper-independent. They pride themselves on not needing anyone. They say things like, I'm fine on my own. I don't rely on people. I don't trust easily. And it sounds strong. It sounds mature. But sometimes it's armor. Because needing someone means giving them the power to hurt you. And if you've been hurt before, your brain doesn't want to risk that again. So you keep people at a safe distance. Close enough to avoid loneliness. Far enough to avoid exposure. And here's the paradox. You want connection. You crave it. You imagine having that one person who truly understands you. But when someone actually tries to understand you, you freeze. You overthink. You second guess. You wonder, what if they see the real me and don't like it? So you offer them a version of yourself. The controlled version. The easy version. The capable version. But not the messy, uncertain, emotional version. And without that version, real intimacy never forms. Struggling to let people in often looks like oversharing stories but hiding your deeper feelings. Always being the listener, never the one who needs support. Ending relationships when they start getting serious. Feeling exposed after emotional conversations. Preferring digital distance over emotional closeness. It's not that you don't care. It's that closeness activates fear. And fear makes you retreat. Sometimes this fear isn't loud. It's quiet. It whispers. They'll eventually get bored. I'm not that interesting. They probably like someone else more. If I show too much, I'll look weak. These thoughts aren't random. They're learned. They're protective patterns built over years. And when patterns repeat long enough, they start to feel like personality. So you begin to believe, this is just who I am. But it's not who you are. It's how you adapted. There's something deeper happening. When you don't let people in, you stay in control. You control how much they know, how much they can affect you, how much access they have. But intimacy requires gradual surrender, not blind trust, not emotional dependence, just openness in small doses. And if openness never felt safe growing up, your body will resist it, even if your heart wants it. Some people believe connection is only about finding the right people. And yes, that matters. But sometimes the right people have already tried, and you kept them outside the gate, not intentionally, not maliciously, just carefully, because being fully seen feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliar feels unsafe. Here's something powerful to understand. You are not bad at friendships. You may simply be afraid of being known. And being known means they see your insecurities. They see your doubts. They see your vulnerable parts. And if those parts were criticized, ignored, or rejected before, of course you would protect them. Anyone would. But protection has a cost. When you keep everyone at a distance, you also keep out the possibility of being deeply understood, being emotionally supported, being loved without performing. You don't just block pain, you block connection. And sometimes the loneliness you feel isn't because no one is around. It's because no one is inside. Letting people in doesn't mean oversharing everything at once. It doesn't mean trusting blindly. It means taking small emotional risks. Saying, that actually hurt. I've been overwhelmed lately. I'm not as confident as I seem. And allowing someone to respond. Not everyone will respond perfectly, but some will respond with care. And that's how safety rewires. You don't fix this by becoming more social. You fix this by becoming more honest with yourself first. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? What am I afraid they'll see? What would happen if someone truly knew that part of me? You may realize the wall you built to survive is now the wall keeping you isolated. Connection isn't about being impressive. It's about being real. And real feels risky. But real is where intimacy lives. If you struggle with friendships for years, maybe it's not because you're unlikable. Maybe it's because you learned that vulnerability equals danger. And now your system chooses safety over closeness. But here's the hopeful part. Patterns can change. Nervous systems can relearn. You can slowly practice letting safe people see more of you. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Gradually. And every time someone stays, every time someone responds with care, your brain updates its story. From closeness is dangerous to closeness can be safe. You don't struggle to make friends. You struggle to let people pass the gate. And gates were built for protection, but they can also be opened carefully, intentionally, with discernment. If this resonated with you, you're not broken. You're protective. And there's a difference. Learning to let people in isn't about becoming someone new. It's about allowing yourself to be seen. And maybe the connection you've been searching for has been waiting on the other side of that wall. If this helped you understand yourself better, stay with this series. In the next video, we'll explore the hidden fear behind avoiding deep relationships. You're not alone in this, and you're not as disconnected as you think. White Heart,